Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number for the month of September 2025. Before we get into the forecast, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like your own personal numerology reading, where we'll take a deep dive into your own personal numbers, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below, and I would love to work with you. All right, let's go ahead and see what this month has in store. Life Path 44-8. So you all are going to be working with the vibration of the 62-8 for September. So ultimately your own energy of the 8, but you have the influencing energy of the 62 here. So this can be a little bit of a challenging cycle, but it's really trying to break you free from something. It's really trying to open you up to something you're not seeing, right? So it could be like some area of your life you feel very restricted. You feel very closed in. Maybe you feel like you're stuck in some way. And this energy is going to help you to see like the reality of the situation. Like what are the actual physical barriers that are standing before you that you have to overcome, or the emotional barriers or whatever. What are the obstacles before you? And it's going to help you to distinguish, hopefully, between what's real, what's a real true challenge, what's a real true barrier, keeping you from doing what you want to do or achieving what you want to achieve. And what is a barrier that you have created for yourself through some kind of greater self-sabotage, or again, being kind of overcome with fear, self-doubt, feeling unworthy, all of the things. And so the goal of this cycle, again, is to help you to see clearly what's yours to clean up, like what's yours to release. In other words, where is it that you're sabotaging yourself? Where is it that you're creating your own self-imposed prison and keeping yourself stuck and bound? Again, through your thoughts, through your emotions around the situation, whatever. And then what are the things that you can actually, what are the things that you need to actually tackle, because they are actual obstacles that are keeping you from being able to achieve what you're looking to achieve. And in that, it could be a situation where you just need to recognize your limitations and then call in the people who have the strengths where you have those limitations, and they can help you to achieve what you're looking to achieve. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, especially for life paths like 4s and 8s, and especially like 44-8s, there can be this overemphasis on our limitations. We can recognize what the limitations are, and then we get so hyper-focused on them that they keep us stuck. Like, well, I can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. But the reality is, you likely can do it. You just have to find a way to work with the limitations or overcome them if that's an option, but at least manage them. Right? So it's not that there's like something wrong with you because you have these limitations, whatever they may be. It just means you have these limitations. But there's certainly somebody out there who has strengths where you've got those limitations. So find them and work with them. And that will help you to overcome the barrier that's before you, that the limitations were keeping you from overcoming. You see what I'm saying? In this cycle, the 62-8 is pushing you to distinguish between the two, right? Again, what is a self-imposed prison and what is a true actual obstacle that you have to figure out how to overcome. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to minimize, the belief systems, the fears, the anxiety, the stress, the thoughts that we have that keep us stuck, right? That those stem from oftentimes trauma or things that we have to move through in order to alleviate. So there's, those are true obstacles within themselves. But at the core of that, they are something that we can alleviate on our own, right? It's not like a true obstacle. where we have a true limitation or there's like a true challenge standing before us to overcome, that we can find a way to do. Do you see what I'm saying? Like where we might have to call in someone to assist or whatever. But this energy helps us to distinguish. And sometimes, our self-imposed prison is just that fear of the unknown. So, and the only way we overcome that is by showing ourselves that we're capable, that we can face this challenge and we can overcome it. So sometimes, it's not that really that big of a deal. And sometimes it's more in depth. But this energy, regardless of whether it's self-imposed or whether it's an actual, obstacle you have to overcome, this energy will help you to distinguish between the two and hopefully find your way through it, right? Or at least to initiate that. It will require, obviously, your input and your effort and your awareness, but it will bring that awareness. And once you have that awareness, then you can figure out how to work with it. You know what I'm saying? To break free from the chains that bind you. For some of you, this could be a moment of some kind of crossroads where a decision has to be made. And that decision, right, being at that crossroads or that decision might be the thing that's creating the fear, that's creating the feeling of being stuck. But this is an energy where it's like, okay, you're at this crossroad, a decision has to be made. We can't move forward without that decision. What's it going to be? And it kind of pushes you to stand in your power, use your discernment, but make that decision. And that can be difficult, of course, because of the unknown, but it can also be difficult because when we make a decision in one direction, we're moving away from the other thing. And that might be something we didn't necessarily want to move away from, but the decision of, that we're moving towards requires it. So there can be some grief and some deeper emotions that come up around that decision. And that can be what's preventing us from making the decision, is knowing that we're going to have to release this other thing or move in a different direction. And again, there can be strong emotions with that. So it's an opportunity to look at all that. But ultimately, this energy of the 62-8 is saying a decision needs to be made. It's time to move forward. Which direction do you want to go in? You have to make that decision. And then you will see, like once you make that decision, you will see things start to fall into place. You will see the universe conspiring to help you on that path to continue to move forward on that path because you've made the decision, you've committed, and you're moving in that direction. And it can definitely bring up some difficulties along the way because that's life, but you will feel, I think, in making the decision, whatever the decision may be, and it doesn't have to be an earth-shattering decision, right? It's just, again, you're at some kind of crossroads here where a decision has to be made. And in making that decision, you free yourself. You free yourself and you start down the path and you face whatever you need to face and you overcome whatever you need to overcome. And you prove to yourself again and again that you're very capable of doing that. So it can be very freeing in some way. It can break you free from the restrictions you might feel. It could also be a situation where some kind of relationship, you've reached some kind of, again, crossroads or stalemate where you're just moving in different directions or you're growing in different directions. And, it's okay. Perhaps that soul contract is over. Both have served the purpose they intended to serve. And now it's time to part ways and move in a different direction. And the piece that we often miss is that can be done with such beauty and such grace and so much love and understanding. Doesn't have to be done with hostility. Doesn't have to be done with this sense of vengeance. There's no ownership when it comes to relationships. And if we've hit a stalemate, if we've hit an impasse, then it's time to move in a different direction and do what's in the highest good of all involved. And again, that can be done with grace. So you might find yourself in that kind of situation this month. And it can be with a romantic partner, with a friend, you name it, with a job or something like that, where you just feel like you can't keep going forward with this, whatever this is. So you have to choose a direction. And it might be that your direction is different from the direction that the other person chooses. And finding your peace with that is part of this journey. You could feel restricted by something to do with your present surroundings or your present circumstances, or you might feel like there's something preventing you from truly expressing yourself in the way that feels most true for you or most authentic. And again, this energy reminds you that you have everything you need to be able to overcome this challenge, this restriction. But you've got to figure it out, right? Like it's part of the game of life. But you could be feeling that, right? And that can feel kind of heavy if you feel stuck in that way. So get focused and dedicated, and you will find the solution, and you can move in that way. This is definitely a time where I would say leaving the old habits behind or the old circumstances behind is what's going to free you from that fear. It's going to open you up to feeling more true to yourself, authentic. It's going to open you up to feeling free, no longer overly restricted. And again, it could just be like a belief system or your environment or your circumstances, the job you're in. There's something here that is no longer serving you, and it needs to be released in some way. And it's through that release that you will discover the joys of life, right? You will open yourself up to new opportunities, new things that feel so much more aligned for you. Especially once you get through the emotions or the feelings associated with that release, whatever that might be. But it'll also show you how capable you are of overcoming any challenge that you're faced with, especially as a 44-8. And as a 44-8, there's plenty of those challenges. So this is a great cycle to, help you find your way. And also to remind you that there's many ways of doing something, find the way that works for you and choose that. And along that path, break free from the stubbornness or the rigidity in your thinking. Right? Again, there's many ways to do something. Your way might be right for you, but it might not be the right way for everyone. So find what works for you and don't worry about what other people are doing. Everything is not black and white. There is so much gray area, that requires a lot of compassion and understanding for yourself and for others as well. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you, and you got beaver energy. And this is such 44-8 energy. Like it's a very focused type of energy, right? There's the beaver is on a mission to create the dam, right? To provide for its offspring, to create an environment that is healthy for that species. And so there's a strong focus, right? If you've ever seen beavers in the wild, they, when they are building, they are focused on that goal. And there's something here where, maybe when it comes to making the decision, whatever that decision may be for you, focus on the goal. Because if you focus on the goal, then it will help you to make the decisions and the choices that will help to move you in that direction. And it becomes a lot easier because you have the vision or the goal in mind. So get focused. Figure out what the goal is. If you don't know, be curious, explore. Try new things and it'll come to you. But once you have the goal, then the decision process is a lot easier for the most part. So get focused, get your ducks in a row, get your strategy in place, get your plan, and dedicate yourself to breaking free from whatever it is that's been holding you back. And again, you might have to ask for assistance in that movement, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's working with your limitations as opposed to feeling like there's something wrong with you because of those limitations, because we all have them. Hope it's a great one, 44s. Take care. Bye for now.